Let's get started. Today I wanted to have a bit of a chat about our inner critics. And I read it, and this started because I read a quote the other day on Facebook somewhere, just, scanning through, and it said something like, the aim of our inner critic is not to be accurate, it's to keep us safe. And I thought, wow, I really liked that quote. I don't know who it was from. I don't even know if it mentioned somebody else's details there, but like who the quote was from. But it's, the aim of the inner critic is not to be accurate, it's to keep us safe. I thought that's actually really cool. I'm just going to mute my computer. It is actually really cool because it's so easy to believe the inner critic sometimes. It's very believable. So if we think about it from the perspective of it's not accurate, its job's not to be accurate, it's not supposed to be right. All it does is to keep you safe. I think it kind of helps things shift a little bit, and I know it certainly has with me. I've done a lot of work with my inner critic like over a while, and I work with my clients with this a lot, and it's something we talk about in a lot of our workshops as well. So I think it's something that comes up for pretty much everybody, that they've got that little inner critic, that little voice sitting at the back on, I always say it's sitting on my shoulder going right, 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 right. So I think it's just a really good idea to think about it from the perspective is it's not supposed to be right, it's not supposed to be accurate. And if we think about it from that perspective, if we don't even expect it to be accurate, then I think that can help us put things into perspective again. Because have you ever noticed that, like, you don't even need to do the thing that you're thinking about doing before inner critic comes into play? It's not like, you start taking the action and then inner critic comes out to play, or your inner negative voice or whatever it is comes out to play. All you need to do is think about the things that you want to do, and then it's when it comes out to play, because it's like a guard dog. So your inner critic, its only job, as we said, is to keep you safe. And all it does is, when you're starting to broach or get to the edge of your comfort zone, and I always think about your comfort zone like being a circle around us, because everything's very visual with me, as you know by now. When we're starting to broach the edge of our comfort zone and things that we're very comfortable with, we've done before, are easy and effortless for us, that, we've already worked through all of the crud around that stuff. When we get to that's all the stuff that's in the comfort zone. The stuff that's out of the comfort zone is all of the stuff we haven't done before, that, it feels like playing big for us. It feels like stretching ourselves. It might be something new. It's a new way of saying something, a new way of doing something, a new approach to something. And when we just get to the edge of that comfort zone, we don't even have to go over the comfort zone. That's when the inner critic comes out to play. That's when it starts to give us a bit of a hard time and tell us all of those negative things that I read a quote, I read a Facebook post ages and ages ago, and it said something like, what is it about waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning when it can remind you of every single negative thing you've ever done in your entire life? Well, that's sort of like the inner critic does, is it will take that time when you're feeling a bit, oh goodness, I'm a bit scared, I'm getting to the edge of my comfort zone here, I'm looking at doing something new or something big or something different, and it's going to start freaking out because, hang on, you're not safe out there, because it's like, out in the wild, it's out in the unknown. Then it starts to get a little nervous, so it starts to tell you all of those things, and it will have plenty of evidence of things that haven't worked out for you in the past, even things that did work out, but it can somehow get a negative approach of how it didn't. It can always give you a negative or a pessimistic view of even the most wonderful things, I think. So think about it like a guard dog. So if you go to a block that's got a guard dog on it, the guard dog's not going to come out and get all savage when you get in. It's going to, as soon as you start broaching that fence or getting close or even walking around the edge of the fence, the guard dog's going to be up there doing whatever guard dogs do. And that's exactly how the inner critic works. So as soon as we start broaching the edge, getting close to the edge, even just thinking about ways of doing things differently or playing bigger, or that new job or moving into that new industry or whatever it is for you, that's when it comes out to play. So it's really interesting though when you think about how it feels. Thank you for the love this morning. If you think about when you're starting to broach that comfort zone rim or the edge of your comfort zone, and you get there and your inner critic comes out and starts banging on about a heap of this stuff, then it feels really uncomfortable. It feels really yucky. And it's very believable. It's easy to believe, should I say, a lot of the stuff that the inner critic's saying to you, a lot of that negativity that the inner critic's saying to you. And so what happens sometimes is some people will choose to retreat into that comfort zone because it feels good in there. It feels comfortable. It feels safe. Yeah. And then we'll go, no, hang on, I'm going to do it again. I'm going to do it again. You get close to that comfort zone and it starts to feel yucky again. So some people will choose to retreat. And it can be a bit confusing because we kind of know that we want to do this thing, but every time we go to do it, it doesn't feel good. Now, if we've got the belief that if we're on the right path and it's going to feel good for us always, then that's when this can get really confusing. But you know what? If you're on the right path, there's still sometimes things that are going to be a bit challenging. There's still sometimes things aren't going to feel comfortable. There's still sometimes things that are going to feel really yucky. I mean, I know I've been running business for many years and in leadership for 1 trillion years, and there was still doing things all of the time that were out of my comfort zone. Well, there were things that felt really awesome and was like, wow, this is really great. It feels great and you really feel like you're in your flow and everything. But there were other times when I was, particularly for me, because I do like my certainty. Good morning, Ainsley. I do like my things that I like to do things I'm good at, right? So when I'm broaching something new that I'm not good at yet, that I haven't experienced yet, that is new for me, that's a pretty comfortable place. And I know it is for a lot of us, people that I work with and people that I speak to. Thanks, Adam just said these messages are awesome. Thanks, Adam, that's lovely. And good morning, Boof, nice to see you this morning. So if you're thinking that it's always going to feel good if I'm on the right track, then it's not. And if you're going to play it that way, then you're always going to stay in your comfort zone and you're never going to go anywhere. Because I don't know anyone that says, well, there's probably a few people out there, but they're certainly not in my world, that say, yeah, I love broaching my comfort zone. I love being uncomfortable. I love that feeling that comes from when, my inner critic's coming out to play. Not many people really enjoy that feeling. However, it's understanding that, remember what I said at the start, which is your inner critic's job is not to be accurate. It's just to keep you safe. So its only job is to keep you safe. So, and that, when that comes out to play, it's not going to feel good. So one of the big questions that I've had over the last couple of years is, well, okay, so how do I know when I'm on the right path then? If sometimes it's going to feel good and sometimes it's not going to feel good. And I can't expect for things to always feel good if I'm on the right path, because whenever I'm trying something new, that's quite uncomfortable for me and most people that I work with. Then how in the hell am I supposed to bloody know? Well, for me, the only ways that I know how to do it is exploring those conversations through coaching. And the other thing is sitting quiet with myself and trusting and going into my intuition. And the best ways that I do that is I sit there and have a nice cup of tea to myself, or I'll go for a walk and sort of ask myself the questions of, this thing that I'm approaching. For example, I've got a big decision I've got to make by tomorrow, and I've kind of just been mulling around a little bit and haven't made any fast decisions today, but I've been sitting with it a little bit. I'm going to sit with it a bit more today, and I'm also going to have a conversation with a coach of mine today, so that can help me get clarity around exactly what it is that I want to do. So the two best ways I know to be able to find the difference between when we're on the right track and when we're not on the right track, because it's difficult to know when we're not feeling good or when the inner critic's out to play, is just sit quietly with yourself, tune into your intuition, just allow some silence, ask yourself the question, is this the right thing for me to do right now, or is this the best use of my time, or whatever your question is, and just see what comes up, and just don't have any expectations, because it's not like we ask a question and our intuition goes, okay, here's the answer. Sometimes it does take a little bit of time. Like I always say, I try and speed my intuition up, but it wants me to be a little bit more patient. So just sit a little bit quietly. And I know for us, busy professional people, we've got so much to do, we don't have time, but it's actually going to save us a lot of time in the end. If we take a little bit of time, quiet time now, go for a walk, have a cup of tea, just sit quietly and listen to the answers that come. It's going to save you a whole bunch of grief and a whole bunch of listening to your inner critic later on or heading up the wrong path. So that's all I have to say today. I hope you have a fabulous day. I'd love to know how things are going with your inner critic, how it comes out to play, and what sort of things it does when it does come out to play. Thank you for all the love this morning. Let us know if you need anything, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Have a great day.